What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Malazan server, and as you can see, once again I'm having fun with our trident with Riptide on. I think it looks so cool when you can just fly around like that. But yeah, we are now going to be working over here at our Guardian farm, and I can show you the things that have changed. One, our villager breeder I completely got rid of, and two, I got rid of all of our now defunct iron farms that was around it. And now you can see this random box that has appeared directly above our Guardian farm. I'm going to run you through the changes that me and Mac took on the place after the Village and Pillage update came out. I came over here, knocked away all of the iron farms, got rid of all the villagers and the villager breeder because they were linking to random blocks here, there and everywhere. So then I went ahead and built a little sort of prison cell thing, or a prison cell block type place, for some villagers to be brought over from Max Breeder, and we've been converting them into fishermen. So that way we've now got the fish directly being fed from our output from our Guardian farm down to this chest over here. And then we're just trading these with our fishermen down here for emeralds in order to trade for books at our trading hall, which is all going good. And then because we kept on getting the drowned sort of coming over and hassling the villagers from the glass because they get attracted from miles away from them, I've just got a line of magma blocks going all the way around the place, and then we've got a hopper minecart going underneath them collecting the drops. So we're getting a little bit of rotten flesh and then a bunch of fish and bones and ink sacks, which are all sort of handy things to get as like a passive sort of drop. But you're probably wondering what is going on with the massive box that we've got being constructed directly above the Guardian farm. Now, after long discussions with Mac as to what we could do with this place, because we've got one of the shops in town which is supplying the prismarine blocks, sea lanterns, as well as full tier conduits and the kelp being supplied by Mac himself. We thought to get the most out of this place as an AFK spot for when one of us want to be online, want to do little bits and pieces, but then also haven't got an extraordinarily large amount of time to be able to actively be on the server. But we've got the ability to leave our character on, especially early hours of the day when none of the other lot are on. Now there's usually around about 7 to 8 hours each day that me and Mac are pretty much the only ones on. And that's because the rest of the server tend to be based in America. This sort of time for them is around about, I think it works out as like 3 or 4 in the morning for them. It's like silly o'clock in the morning, so none of them are ever on around this time. So AFK in a spot like this is ideal because we get all of the spawns from everywhere over here now. And in order to take full advantage of that fact, me and Mac then decided that to make this area extremely profitable for us is to actually construct a gold farm on top of the Guardian farm. Now I was a little bit dubious about this at first, so what we ended up doing is opening up a copy of my single player world in a creative copied version, and then we ended up building a whole gold farm on top of my Guardian farm in that world just to test it, and then we opened it up on a realm just to make sure that it didn't cause any sort of unnecessary lag or any sort of issues for other mobs spawning. And zombie pigman spawns seem to be completely independent from any other spawns whatsoever, which is an absolute godsend for this sort of farm design. And then the only thing is that the zombie pigman was worried about their spawns taking up the spawn cap for the guardians, which does not seem to be an issue. Now when there are other players on with mobs spawn around them, the guardian spawns tend to dry up quite rapidly, but the zombie pigmen don't. And even with us having the zombie pigmen being spawned, them alone won't affect guardian spawns. So having a gold farm put on top of this is extremely useful. So what we are planning on doing is that this glass line here and the glass tray thing going across there, you could probably guess it is going to be one massive water tray sitting on top of our guardian farm, and it's going to be funneling all of the zombie pigmen hopefully down to this section here, this 3 wide gap. And if we're able to work our way back out, can we get out this way? There we go. So what's going to happen is that when they come down here, they're going to be dropped down a 22 drop here. Now obviously this section of hoppers and collection chests I'm going to be having a separate collection chamber underneath for the zombie pigment anyway. This guy's confused whether to go for me or the villagers, so I'm just going to leave him do whatever he feels is best for him. Yep, you do you, I'll do me. So yeah, this thing's probably going to be dropped down. This guy's interested in us now though. So this hopper chain out, and we've got a guy with trident. Where is this guy? Getting attacked by all sorts of stuff now. Who's firing tridents at us? I don't know where the trident guy is, and he will kill me if I don't find him. And he can fire them from far. Okay, let's get rid of this guy before he ends up murdering us. There we go. So, as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted. The hopper minecart we're still going to have in effect, but we're just going to be dropping it down to what I'm going to be building a collection room down here for the gold and rotten flesh. And then the reason that we've held off on transferring any more villagers over here is because we wanted to get the gold farm up and running to decide whether or not we want to convert the remaining 7 cells into clerics in order to trade the rotten flesh with from the zombie pigment farm. You can just die on the magma blocks now. Okay, so I was waiting to transfer these guys over to convert them over to clerics in order to trade the rotten flesh, gold, and any other bits that we sort of want to trade with them. I've also extended this platform so it's symmetrical either side of the guardian farm. So if we do want to get another 7 holding cells on this side, that we can, or another 14 it would be on this side, and then we can have a little walkway going around our conduit, which is going to be in open water. But I've sort of laid it all out ready for it to be built, because I want to sort of try to blitz through this project, because I don't want to sort of hover and make probably, well, it is probably going to take the episode to get this entire thing up and running, and it's quite a nice big project. But in order to make progress and not let the episode lag on too long, I'm just going to stop talking now. And what we're going to do is that I've managed to get a second account accepted onto the server, which they're fully aware is a second account for me to take advantage of being able to record in a third person perspective. So what we're going to try to do is a little bit of a third person time lapse on this build. So yeah, go crack on and start this.
the whole world at our feet, watching seasons change. Our roads were lined with adventure, mountains in the way.
then. So I ended up building this, I think it was around about until 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the morning. It took me to finish off building all of the portals. Now there's 7 sets of 16 portals, which I do believe is 117, if my maths is correct. And that is a lot of portals. Now obviously the way that I've built them is more of a cosmetic point of view rather than a maximizing the space. If I wanted to maximize the space, I could just do them all in a line in like sort of one next to the other, but I wanted them all facing each other in like a sort of cube shape, just to make it look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. And don't worry about the dirt pillar, that's where our third person camera account was, so he was sort of recording us. Hopefully the third person time lapse came out alright. I'm not too sure because some of it was at night time, and I'm not sure if some of it was in the rain. When it's raining and it's pitch black out and you're trying to work on obsidian, trying to see where to land, it gets very, very difficult. But before we go up there and start igniting the portals, I'm going to give you a quick tour of the little bits and pieces that I've done. Now, I've changed down here, so we've got the drop chute where the zombie pigmen come down. So they get washed down to the centre roll there. We've got a 3 wide gap just to avoid sort of any sort of clog-in situations. And because the drop itself was a little bit too deep, I've ended up putting in a water sort of reset point, just so that they're not dying on impact when they get to the bottom. And then we've got all the redstone bits and pieces here. We've got one at the top in case we need to reset the tridents. And then we've got the second set of sticky pistons shifting the trident killing mechanism back and forth. So that is all in place, and then underneath there we've got our hopper chain, which runs down to a storage room, which is done with a standard item filter at the back there. Now our hopper minecart, which is still doing its rounds on the outside, I've ended up dipping just around here and collecting over here, so then it's then dropping into a chest just underneath there. So yeah, we've got quite a lot of hoppers running everywhere. I need to do something to try hide this line of hoppers because it's not looking all that nice. I hid most of the hoppers here and the track underneath. I like the way that you can still run the track underneath the water. It looks very nice. Other than that, what else have I done down here? Also built a little room. I shifted our conduit up by a few blocks and I built a separate little sort of main entrance and hallway area here, because what we've ended up having to do is move our nether portal for actually travelling in the nether at least about 100 blocks away, just so that it doesn't interfere with the portals up top, and that way if you go through that one you're not going to get mobbed by about 1,000 angry pigmen, just in case, because sometimes that does happen. Now, when I was working on it up there, there was quite a lot of mobs spawning on the actual obsidian. We've got an enderman here and he's starting to do my nutting. So what we're going to do is just try to get rid of him. There we go. Get some more ender pearls on us, top ourselves up. So yeah, I think that is all the changes that I've actually made. Let me just have a quick look just to make sure. I've been working on this now, I think for a total of around about 14 to 15 hours, and the water tray, I'm quite happy with the way that's come out. That's all sort of, it's nearly symmetrical. When I initially lined up the drop chute or where it's going to be landing on the platform below, it was a little bit off, but I've made sure that the portals themselves are symmetrical, but the water tray is, I think it's off by 1 or 2. You see you've got 2 up high on this side, and let me just have a quick look over here, and I think you have got 2. Maybe it is symmetrical. I know that it's an even number, so one of these isn't the same length as the other, because we've got 3 wide gap and it's a 60 wide long platform. The portals themselves are not completely max size, they're 22s by 23s. Just so that it's sort of lined up correctly with the rest of the actual monument sort of base. But I think this is quite a lot bigger than our last gold farm. So we're going to sort of head on up, and as you can see we've got skellies sort of hanging about here. And I think we have actually got room for maybe 1 more set of portals. Like we're at 234 up here now. And yeah, so we've got skellies down there. So we're at 134, which gives us about another 20 blocks. So even if we did build another set of portals, it wouldn't be a full set. And by the way, my parkour skills parkour skills? No. Parkour skills have had to be on point trying to build this thing. Oh, this guy keeps on juking my shots. Can we get... That was way too high. Come on. My aim's all over the place today. Doesn't help that this skelly's dodging and weaving. You know what, we're probably going to get to him when we get down to that point anyway. But yeah, I'm going to start lighting these portals one by one, and I think without losing my voice, we can do this in a sort of first person time lapse rather than third, because you won't be able to see much from the third person time lapse. So yeah, let's crack on and start lighting these. Alright then, so that time lapse or first person time lapse is probably going to be cut rapidly short, mainly because, as you can tell, it has turned to night time and it is raining, so the footage is probably going to be unbearably dark, especially for YouTube. So yeah, sorry about that. It's not much I could do. There's someone else online and he'd already had to sign out and then log back on because I needed him to sleep away the last night in order for me to start the recording, and I didn't fancy asking him again. That would have been a little bit out of order, but this is the last portal and we are getting quite a few zombie pigmen now showing up for the party. I've not actually activated the kill chamber yet, so we are getting quite a few. Now what I need to make sure is that these guys are actually not dying on impact, and nope, they definitely are not. So as they come down, the water should then reset their fall and slow them down just enough so that they're not dying, and they should be very low on health. But we've got an absolute ton of them down there, so before we crash the server with these guys, hello Miss Cupcake. Before we crash the server, I actually want to quickly go kill these guys because I can already feel the framiness of it. Let's do one of these. Oh, that is the wrong one. This guy is our killing. Okay, there we go. So when we start getting the drops through, they should then filter through down below, and I could then have the chance to go down and sort out the filters. What sort of rates are we getting here? The thing is that apparently the spawning has changed for mobs at the moment, and I don't know if it's going to be affecting the gold farms like the one that we've just built. I know in my test build it most certainly hasn't. So they seem to still be coming through quite regularly. Apparently the new spawning mechanism is that mob spawn anywhere after 24 blocks away from the player and anywhere within 54 blocks. Now if that is the case for the gold farms, none of these portals would be generating zombie pigmen for us because we are over 54 blocks away from them. So it does not seem to be affecting them as of yet. I need some fillers. Can we get some filler blocks? What do we want as filler? Oh, Netherrack's never going to be making its way through to the system. So let's just grab this XP and hop on down to here. And we should hopefully have some zombie flesh and some gold ingots and some gold nuggets. And this is what we need for our filters. So have we got any blocks? You know what, we can just use the netherrack we picked up. Awesome. Okay, so that's our dead end line, and then these guys are our filters. So apparently we have got netherrack in these guys. They all seem to be clear, so come on, I need one of these guys to stop coming in. Stop it. Okay, do that. Put some rotten flesh into there. And then we can do this. And we want this one to be rotten flesh also. And then we want one to be golden nuggets. And then we want the other one to be gold ingots. And that should be our 4 filters, and then any other garbage can come through here. So if we end up using like a looting free sword on them instead of the killing mechanism, we'll get the swords which can then be funneled into this one. This is then going to be rotten flesh. Let's take out these bits and pieces. I'm going to have to clear this chest anyway, because Mac, when he was helping me out, he actually died, and I'm not sure if that's going to be in the third-person time-lapse, but it was a pretty epic death. So like, right at the beginning, and was building up. He then fell off. He went to fly around in a circle, try to get back onto the platform, but he sort of just exploded into one of the obsidian pillars, which was extremely cool. Well, from my perspective, first-person perspective, it was epic. It was just like you saw the firework trail, and you didn't actually see him die, but you just saw like an explosion of items go flying around everywhere. Let's quickly grab this XP. Thank you very much. So, yeah, I think that is all the time we're going to have for today's episode, because I know it's probably dragging on a bit now. But I think the upgrade that we've made to our Guardian farm, like we're still getting the Guardian spawn. You can probably see one dying just up there in the left-hand side corner. And we've got a couple up there, so they're still running fine. And we still need to get some more villagers in, so I've ran the track down to the other portal, because we're going to need to get some clerics in place, and all of that's probably going to be done in between episodes. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode, and I will hopefully see you all in the next one. Bye bye.